Empire or Republic? America at a crossroads in a multipolar world. In recent months, Tucker Carlson has repeatedly argued that the United States no longer behaves as a traditional republic. According to his view, America is now acting openly as an empire. He claims that U.S. foreign and security policy has shifted away from defense and toward the preservation of global dominance. This, he argues, marks a fundamental transformation in how American power is exercised. One of Carlson's central arguments focuses on the rapid expansion of the U.S. defense budget. He points out that a country increasing military spending from roughly $1 trillion to well over $1.5 trillion is not preparing for peace. In his interpretation, such spending levels are typical of a state preparing for large-scale conflict. Whether regional or global, he suggests that the structural conditions for a major war are already in place. Carlson often highlights U.S. intervention in Venezuela as a symbolic turning point. In his view, this was not a covert operation, but an open admission of imperial behavior. He argues that the primary objective was not the spread of democracy, but control over strategic resources, political leverage, and geopolitical positioning. Many analysts note that this interpretation aligns with a broader historical pattern. Since the Second World War, the United States has conducted military interventions across much of the globe. Taken together, these actions suggest a consistent strategy focused on maintaining dominance rather than reacting to isolated threats. However, Carlson does not present himself as a conventional pro-war commentator. Instead, he frames his argument around strategic prioritization. He repeatedly states that China, not Russia, represents the primary long-term challenge to American power. From this perspective, treating Russia as an enemy is a strategic mistake. Carlson argues that the United States cannot survive a global conflict if it simultaneously confronts both Moscow and Beijing. According to his logic, cooperation with Russia represents the lesser evil. He believes this approach would allow Washington to concentrate its resources on countering China. He further claims that the current focus on Ukraine and Europe distracts from the Asian theater. At the same time, it pushes Russia into a closer and more permanent alliance with China. In Carlson's view, this outcome weakens the United States rather than strengthening it. Security analysts warn that such a geopolitical realignment would have serious consequences in Asia. Japan and South Korea, for example, could face growing instability, while Chinese territorial ambitions might be further emboldened. Beyond Asia, countries in the global South would also be affected. A reduction in great power rivalry could limit their ability to balance competing interests. Within the United States, Carlson's arguments have triggered intense debate. Some critics accuse him of masking hawkish intentions behind anti-war rhetoric. Others argue that he exposes a deeper contradiction inside American politics, the tension between Republican ideals and imperial behavior. Public opinion remains divided. Support for foreign military interventions is limited, even among traditionally pro-security voters. This suggests that many Americans favor internal stability over the maintenance of a global empire. Internationally, Carlson's statements have attracted significant attention. In many countries, they are viewed as signals of a broader strategic dilemma within the United States. The question is no longer whether imperial logic exists in modern geopolitics. The real question is how major powers choose to act upon it. As global power structures continue to shift, the world appears to be entering a period of profound transformation. Whether this transformation leads to cooperation or renewed conflict will largely depend on how today's dominant states define their future roles. The choices made now will shape the global order for decades to come.